Sometimes you don't document everything perfectly. Sometimes you cut corners on paperwork because you're exhausted from working 14-hour days. Alexandra knew this, had even helped with some of our early tax filings when we couldn't afford a proper accountant. The coffee shop meeting was eye-opening. My accountant, let's call him Frank, looked like he hadn't slept in days. Turns out Alexandra had already contacted him asking innocent questions about business valuation methods and ownership documentation. Claimed she was helping me prepare for a potential investor meeting. Frank, not knowing what was happening, had given her some surface-level info but felt uncomfortable enough to flag it. When I told him what was really going on, the color drained from his face. "James, I need to show you something," he said, pulling out his tablet. He opened a series of documents showing my business transactions from the past 3 years. These highlighted ones, they don't quite add up. Turns out Alexandra had been doing more than just planning a divorce. She'd been creating a paper trail to make it look like I was mishandling business funds. Small discrepancies in dates, amounts moved between accounts at odd times, invoices with inconsistent numbering. Nothing illegal. She was too smart for that. But enough to make things look messy in divorce court. Enough to justify bringing in a forensic accountant who would cost me thousands and find absolutely nothing wrong, but would drag out proceedings for months. Frank and I spent 3 hours documenting everything properly, creating clear trails showing all transactions were legitimate. We accelerated payments to suppliers, paid off equipment loans early, and documented Alexandra's complete non-involvement in the business operation. While we worked, I got a text from Magnolia, Alexandra's sister. This was unusual. We've always been friendly but rarely text directly. She asked if we could meet for coffee sometime soon. Said she needed to talk about something important. I agreed to Saturday morning, wondering what that was about. Next stop, the bank. I'd been stewing on something Alexandra's brother had said at that dinner. A comment about their parents helping her when the time comes. I had a hunch, and hunches in construction often save your ass. At the bank, I spoke with our financial advisor. Confirmed what I suspected. Alexandra had applied for a home equity line of credit against our house 2 weeks ago. The house that's primarily in my name because I made the down payment with pre-marriage savings. The house that I renovated myself, adding nearly $100 grand in value. I was still listed as a required signatory, but the paperwork was moving through the system. One more week and she would have had access to about $200,000 in cash that I would be partially responsible for repaying. The advisor seemed uncomfortable when I explained I didn't authorize this. After showing my ID and marriage certificate, I was able to cancel the application. Then I moved half of our joint savings into my personal account, exactly the amount I had contributed. Is that petty? Maybe. But it's a fuck of a lot less than she was planning to take. When I got home, I did something I'm not proud of. But desperate times and all that, I installed tiny recording devices in our living room and bedroom. Completely legal in our state since it's my house too, but definitely crosses an ethical line. I also set up a camera in our home office, angled toward her desk. Then I took the dog for a walk around the neighborhood like nothing was wrong. Waved to the neighbors, tossed a ball for the Jenkins kid, picked up some dog shit with a little plastic bag while casually planning the complete dismantling of my marriage. Normal Tuesday stuff. That night over dinner, Alexandra seemed distracted, checking her phone constantly. When I asked about her day, she gave vague answers. Then her phone buzzed again, and I caught a glimpse of the name on this. Dominic. "Who's Dominic?" I asked, keeping my voice casual while reaching for more pasta. The fork paused halfway to her mouth, just for a second. "Oh, new client at the firm. Time-sensitive case." Then she put her phone face down on the table. That slight hesitation told me everything. 7 years with someone. You notice these. Must be important if he's texting you during dinner, I said, still Mr. Relaxed Husband. She gave me this tight smile. You know how it is. Some people don't respect boundaries. The irony almost made me choke on my garlic bread. After dinner, she said she needed to finish some work and disappeared into the home office. I cleaned the kitchen, making enough noise so she'd think I was busy, then silently moved to the hallway near the office door, which she'd left slightly ajar. I could hear her voice, low and intimate, not her client voice, not her talking to family voice, her bedroom voice. Can't just call whenever you want. No, he doesn't suspect anything. Just be patient. Yes, I miss you too. Each word was another nail in the coffin of whatever feelings I still had for her. The rage I'd been tamping down threatened to boil over. I wanted to burst through that door to confront her, to end this charade right now, but that would have ruined everything. So I walked away, back to the kitchen, turned on the faucet, pretended to wash more dishes while planning my next moves. Here's the thing about building. Timing matters. Pour concrete too soon after the rain, it won't set right. Rush the framing, the whole structure is compromised. This revenge needed time to cure properly. Wednesday morning, I accidentally left divorce papers I'd printed out visible on my nightstand. Not filled in, just the standard forms from the county website. When I came back from my shower, they were slightly moved. She'd looked at them, but she said nothing. Neither did I. At work, I quietly began preparation, called in favors from clients who owed me, not for money, for information. Turns out Dominic wasn't just some random guy. He was a close friend of Thomas, Alexandra's brother. They'd gone to college together. He came from the same kind of money as her family, the kind of guy her parents had always wanted for. And here's where it gets interesting. Dominic had been at several family events I'd skipped over the years because I was working. Birthday parties, a ski trip, even a fucking cruise I couldn't go on because I was finishing a big project. The project that actually established my business. Through a mutual acquaintance, I learned Dominic and Alexandra had dated briefly in college before we met. The pieces were falling into place. This wasn't just an affair. This was a long game. While digging into all this, I also created a detailed spreadsheet documenting every penny I'd spent supporting Alexandra through school. Tuition, books, rent, the laptop I bought her for graduation, the bar exam prep course, the interview suits, the countless Ubers home from late-night study sessions because I didn't want her on public transit after dark. Grand total, $143,622, not including interest I could have earned if I'd invested that money in my business instead. That night, Alexandra initiated sex for the first time in months. I almost laughed at the timing. Was this part of her plan too? Keep me distracted and satisfied while she arranged my financial execution? I went along with it, performing as expected, feeling nothing but detachment as she play-acted passion. Afterward, while she slept, I sat in the dark staring at the ceiling fan, counting rotations instead of sheep. One thought kept circling. How long had our marriage been a lie? Was it always transactional for her? Was I just a stepping stone? Thursday morning brought my coffee meetup with Magnolia. I arrived early, checking Reddit on my phone while I waited. The support from you internet strangers was still flowing in. Some suggested extreme measures I'd never consider. Others shared similar stories that made mine seem tame by comparison. The solidarity helped somehow. Magnolia arrived looking nervous. She's always been the odd one in that family, more genuine, less concerned with appearances. She ordered some complicated coffee drink and picked at a muffin while making small talk. Finally, she took a deep breath. What she told me next confirmed everything. She'd known about Alexandra and Dominic for months. Had caught them together at their parents' lake house during that family weekend I'd missed because of a water damage emergency at a job site. She'd confronted Alexandra, who swore it was a one-time mistake, but it wasn't. Alexandra had confided in Magnolia recently. Drunk after a family dinner I'd also missed, told her the whole plan. Stay with me until making partner, then upgrade to Dominic with half my assets as her golden parachute. Magnolia was telling me this because she couldn't stomach it anymore. Said she'd always liked me, thought I was good for her sister. Couldn't understand why her family never gave me a fair chance. I thanked her for her honesty, careful not to reveal I already knew most of this, asked her to keep our conversation between us. She agreed, seeming relieved to unburden herself. As she left, she hugged me and whispered that she was sorry. It was the first genuine human connection I'd felt in days. Thursday night, I set the next phase in motion. Created a fake business emergency called Alexandra, saying I needed all hands on deck for a crisis meeting the next night. Major client threatening to pull out, potential financial disaster, needed her support and her family's advice. She hesitated, said she had plans. I pushed harder. Let my voice crack a little. Said I was scared of losing everything we'd built. Played on her guilt. She relented. Agreed to host an emergency family dinner Friday night. Said she'd call her parents and Thomas. Perfect. Friday morning, I put the final touches on my preparations. Set up the dining room with printouts hidden in a folder by my seat. Loaded all the evidence onto a tablet, screenshots, recordings, financial records, everything. Picked up her favorite dessert from that bakery across town she loves so much. At work, I made sure everything was in order. Had a frank conversation with my business partner, who was understandably shocked but fully supportive. We'd been friends since high school. He knew what Alexandra's schooling had cost me in more ways than one. When I got home, Alexandra was already there, setting the table with our good plates again. The symmetry wasn't lost on me. Another family dinner, same stage, entirely different play about to unfold. She seemed jittery, checking her phone constantly. When I asked if everyone was confirmed for dinner, she nodded distractedly, said her parents were bringing wine. Thomas and his wife would be there too. I suggested inviting Magnolia as well. Alexandra looked surprised but agreed, texting her sister while I watched. The gang would all be there. Perfect. As I headed upstairs to shower and change, Alexandra called after me, asking what the client issue was specifically so she could prepare her thoughts. I told her I'd explain everything during dinner. Wanted to go through it just once with everyone present. Under the shower spray, I rehearsed what I would say. How I would present the evidence. The order of revelations for maximum impact.